Well, howdy, howdy. How are you? We are going to be painting a super cute ornament today, and we are going to just work on some stenciling, some polka dots, some shading, some working with some metallics. We're going to be adding a super cute ornament to our Christmas tree over here, and I am excited for you to hop on and join with me. So, if you don't know who I am, I'm Erica Wallace. I'm of Wallace House Designs, and I teach you tips and tricks to take your painting to the next level. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, if you're watching the live video, I want you to say, hey, tell me where you're watching from. Tell me um, what you got going on right now. Are you sitting at work, not working? Are you sitting at home waiting for the kids to get home from the bus? I was like, what's going on in your world? If you're catching the replay, I want you to put hashtag replay. I'd love to know that you came and hung out with us after hours. Okay, so I've got two ornaments here. They're exactly the same, and I'm going to be painting them exactly the same. The way that we're going to go about it is we're going to be painting it like this. Now, this is a really hard pink to get. I thought I had it in my arsenal of paint, but I don't. But I do have similar shades. I have cactus flower. I also have vintage pink, which is a lot like cactus flower. I have poodle skirt pink, and I have baby pink. I think what I'm going to do. Also, I picked up, what else did I pick up? I just went to Hobby Lobby and I picked up a couple of others. Petal pink. There's my vintage pink and wildberry. Okay. Berry cobbler. Okay. So I think what I wanted to do was for these shades right here, I think I was going to go with petal pink and berry cobbler. Now, obviously that's not berry cobbler, but we're going to work with it. Let's see what we can do. Okay. So let's go ahead and get our stuff base coated. Normally I would go ahead and have this base coated, but we haven't painted together in a while. So I thought, why don't we just spend some quality time together? Y'all okay with that? Hey, Macon. Hey, Debbie. How are y'all doing? Isn't it a cute angel? Let's see if I can get you just a little bit more close and personal with it. Okay. There we go. And actually, we're going to go full table. We're going to go full table. How about that? A little bit bigger for you. Hey, Lori and Juanella and Ray. I'm finally catching up. Girl, you're not missing the lives. I just haven't done a live in a while. I have been either sick or taking care of sick people or just, I mean, it's the holidays. We're exhausted, aren't we? Lucky me, just looking for my notifications. Woo! Let's see. Hey, from Ohio on my couch, still in my jammies. I'm not going to judge, Lori. I literally just got home and I slipped into my Grinch jammies as soon as I got here. As soon as I got here, I could not wait any longer. So I'm going with petal pink. I don't use this too often, but for this design, I think it's going to be perfect. And berry cobbler. We're also going to be using light buttermilk. We're going to be using cool white. And for right now, that's all we're going to go over. We're going to add some here and there as we go along. But for this outside part of her dress, I'm going to paint that petal pink. It's a little pinker than the mock-up, but that's okay. Our little angel can be whatever color we want it to be. If you want her to be blues, you can make her blues. The reason I call her a fabric angel, if you're looking for this template, the template is under Fabric Holiday Angel. So the reason I call her a fabric angel is because she just looks like patchwork to me. Like her all the little patterns we add to her just remind me of patchwork. We add some patterns, some stenciling, some polka dots. I just feel like she is just, I would love to add just a little square patch right there too. It was something that I kind of brainstormed while I was designing her, but then kind of opted against it because I wanted her to look a little bit more angelic. I love this one. I've actually painted this one in a 22-inch and a 12-inch and a 5-inch. Brenda's like, I painted her all up, down, all which ways. I love her. I'm not going to lie. When I saw the votes coming in yesterday, because we take a vote on these the day before, okay? So if you're wondering how I pick what I'm going to paint, we vote on it together. And I was not heartbroken because I love all my designs, right? But I was heartbroken because I really wanted to paint her. And this morning, when I woke up and I tallied up the votes, that it was 50-50. And I told myself the next comment is going to determine which one we paint. And the next comment was the angel. And so I was like, okay, done deal. Let's go. Let's go cut her out before I leave the house. So that's what we did this morning. So I'm just base coating her in pink. Now we're going to do all different shades of pink. I'm just giving her a solid, good coverage base coat. Okay. Just something to work on. So all these pinks are going to change. I'm just starting with a solid surface color. Okay. Let's see. Just giving her good coverage. Now for her wings, I did oyster beige. Okay. We just went ahead and did oyster beige. I thought that was a good color to start off with, especially since we're going to use some light buttermilk. Howdy, Heather. How you doing? Hey, Jerry. Okay. So this is kind of an awkward fit. I might have to move that. This is my little paint cup that's on the other side of my light. And I have my light so low on the table that I think that's just going to be an awkward reach. So we're just going to put this here. And hopefully we can get this painted before Raylene comes home. Hopefully. Okay. Let's see. We're going to blow dry her. Well, we'll let her dry. Let's bump up in brush sizes because I feel like I can paint that a little faster with a bigger brush. Okay. So again, this is Petal Pink. We're going to be ghosting it out and making all different shades with this color. We're going to add some berry cobbler to it to make it a deeper, more berry color, but keeping it in the same color family. If you know me, I like to mix colors. I do enjoy having a straight from the bottle color. Like this right here is straight from the bottle, Petal Pink. But I do like to jazz things up and mix some different colors together so that they stay in the same color family, but we're able to achieve different tones, right? Nothing's clashing because we're using similar colors to mix and make our accent colors. So if I wanted to make a lighter shade of this, I would take the Petal Pink and just add some white or even some light buttermilk, just a lighter white or cream color, and it will bring down the pink to another, just a lighter shade. I call that ghosting out. We're going to ghost it out when we add white or a cream color to make a lighter shade. We are going to be ghosting out here in just a little bit. Or if I wanted to deepen it, but I don't want to necessarily have 30 different bottles of paint just to justify having 4 different shades of this tone. All you have to do is take the straight from the bottle color, add a similar darker color. So this is a darker version of this, and it's way on the other side of the spectrum, right? This is kind of a light color. So if this was, say, a number chart, do you remember in school where you have 0, okay, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 going this way, but you have negative 1, 2, 3, 4 going this way? Say this is 0, okay? So this is 0. But I want to have like a -4 shade of this. I want to have this like way lighter than this, but I don't want it to clash when I use it. Well, I'm going to add white, okay? But say I want this darker. What color would I use to make it darker? Well, there's all different ways that you can achieve that. All I do is I take a similar color that is darker. So that is a similar color that is darker, and I just marry the two together and make a new shade. I hope that makes sense. And we will be doing that today, okay? Okie dokie. So we've got her base coated. Let's work on her dress. Let me open this up. Hey, Marie. Marie, I got your door hanger today, and I love it so much. I have to brag on you just a little bit. So you might be seeing a shameless little plug of Marie Mosley and the Crafty palette and her hand drawing that she sent me. She sent me a hand drawing. I ordered a door hanger from Marie. She had the cutest Hocus Pocus one, and it was after Halloween. And I was like, I want that for my door next year. I know myself, I'm not going to have time to paint that design, that particular design myself. And Marie did an amazing job. So she already had one painted up. So I was like, it's mine. Just send it to me. I want it. So I purchased it, and she sent it to me, even though it was after Halloween. I was like, I don't care that it's after Halloween. I want it for next year. but she also sent me a super cute hand-drawn card, and I'll put it in my stories. It's the cutest thing ever. Okay, so we've got our angel base coated, right? So we're going to ghost it out for the center part of her dress, but let's not make things hard on ourselves. Let's go ahead and paint these outer sections first, and then we'll come in and do the inner section. So like I said, we're going to marry two shades together and make this kind of deep, rosy, dusty color, okay? So I've got my straight from the bottle petal pink, okay? I've got my paint palette over here. I've got petal pink right here, okay? And I've got my berry cobbler right here. I'm going to dirty my brush. All that means is, oh, there goes Romo. Romo, baby, please don't do that. I'm going to dirty my brush. All right, you can also mix these together in a puddle if you want. I don't necessarily want to do that just because I know I don't need a lot. And I know I'm not going to have to like match these perfectly later on. So I'm just going to make a nice, cute, dusty color. Y'all please excuse Romo. He has absolutely no manners. No manners. Okay, so all I'm doing is off to the sides. I'm just kind of playing. I know that my palette brings so much anxiety to some people. Just look away, okay? Just look away. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to base coat this in, okay? Now, this gives me two things. This does two things for me, okay? This creates a completely new shade that does not clash with any of the other colors that I'm going to mix with that base color, okay? I've decided that petal pink is my base color, and nothing is going to clash with it because they're all incorporated with the petal pink. Hey, Karen. How are you doing? Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. Today is going to be a fun one. It's a fun one. So we've got this color, but when we go to make our ghosted out, remember that's what I say whenever I want to make a lighter shade of our base color. Our base color is this petal pink, right? So what I want to do is I want to make sure I keep that petal pink as my base color whenever I go to mix my shades, so that nothing clashes, that no matter how deep or how light I go with my shades, it doesn't matter because they're all made with that petal pink. So they're all going to look like they're part of the same color family, right? They're going to look like they're all cousins to the same color because they are. They are. So there we go. There's our darker shade. Let's go ahead and move that aside. Remember, we're making two at a time. Whenever you make something, if you know that you're going to want more than one, go ahead and make both of them at the same, especially ornaments. Ornaments are the easiest thing to make multiples of at a time. So just go ahead and do it. You know you're going to want to keep one, even if you're telling yourself, oh, well, I'll just give this to my mama, or I'll just give this to my cousin for Christmas, or I'll just, this will go on my daughter's Christmas tree. It'll be a Christmas present to my daughter. Make yourself one too. You know you're going to have a hard time letting it go once it's time to actually wrap it up and give it away. Go ahead and make two. That's my rule of thumb. I make minimum 2 ornaments at a time. Minimum. Normal. And if you see, I cut 4 because I had anxiety when I was cutting. I had first cut 2 and I went ahead and cut 4 because I was like, I know myself. I'm going to want to keep one. At least one. At least one. Oh my gosh. I just love her. Look at her. Just look at her. Her cute little Victorian dress. So she was inspired by like wooden angel ornaments, like your vintage wooden angels. And I have a whole series of her coming out. I think they're going to be super cute. But she was the very first. There we go. So there's our first shade. Now, our next to do is clean our brush really good. Get all that dark pink out because we're going to ghost this out. We're going to take that petal pink. Okay. So we took petal pink, berry cobbler, married them together and made our own little shade right there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that petal pink. Let me open up my white. You could also do this with light buttermilk, any kind of white or creamy color. I had to buy a new white because I was completely out. Okay. So, where did I throw my brush? There it is. So I've got petal pink down here. I've got cool white. Doesn't matter what white you use. I'm using pink, so I'm going to go with the cool white just to kind of make sure things don't get too splotchy or kind of, I want things to be very muted down. I don't want things to be hot and heavy looking. I want these to look very soft and dainty. Now this is already a light pink, so we're going to be adding a good bit of white, okay? So like I said, you could just do puddle to puddle and just mix them all together and make one big puddle. I know I'm not going to need that much. So I'm just making a small little puddle here. I'm just base coating. I get a lot of questions on how I pick my colors so that when I shade, nothing's clashing. This is how I do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Doodle doo 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 doodle doo doo. Okay, so this is how I did it. In way more words than you asked for. All right, so we've got our two shades, and they are matchy because we use petal pink as our base shade. Now these two colors are the exact same color, so I'm going to go ahead and while I've got it on my brush, base coat it in there. This ornament slaps together so quick compared to some other designs just because there's not a lot of color changes. There's really not. Oh, so cute, so cute. Okay. All right. Again, petal pink, good bit of white, ghosted out. Catch up. Hey, Miss Bonnie. Hey, Lauren. How are you doing? Hey, Lynette and Sharon. All my girls coming to hang out. It's been a while, so I'm excited that y'all are here. I almost talked myself out of it. I had laid down on the couch. I got home from school. I was exhausted. And I was like, ooh, let me just take me a little 30-minute snooze. I'm not even going to fall asleep. I'm just going to rest my eyes. My eyes have been hurting so bad. Kind of that allergy kind of feel. You know how where they're just itchy, they hurt so bad they feel like sandpaper. Mine have been in a constant state like that, and it has been driving me crazy. And I've just been faking it till I make it because I go to bed so early right now just to give my eyes a break. I'm not even tired when I go to bed. It's just my eyes can't take it anymore, and I don't know how to fix it other than loads of medication. And I feel like I've taken so much medicine over the last couple of weeks that I just need to give my system a break. I've been congested. I've had coughs. I've had the itchy eyes, the runny nose. I was like, I feel like I have been treating a symptom after symptom. And I told myself this week, I need to give my system a break. I don't think that my system knows how to regulate itself so much because it's been so medicated. So I'm just suffering through the pain. All right. So there we go. So we've got our two little angels. Give me just a quick second. Got to get me a nice little sip of my coffee. Did I forget to? I did. Technically, it's iced coffee. I meant to warm this up in the microwave. Anytime I have leftover coffee, I pour it in a coffee mug and put it in the fridge, and I come back home to it, and it's usually my go-to cup of coffee as soon as I get home, so I don't have to make another pot. And I was in such a frenzy to press this button to go live, and I totally forgot to nuke it, as my mama would say. It's like, but that's okay. We'll consider it iced coffee. Oh, way to go, old school there, right, Lynette? Couldn't help it. That was like my skating rink days. Like as soon as I started singing, I started gliding, like not ice skating, roller rink. My nan has a corn husk angel. This reminds me. I want to see a picture of that. That'd be so cute. Okay. So we've got our wings done because we base coated our entire thing in our wing color. This is oyster beige. You could also do light buttermilk. This is petal pink with white, petal pink with wild berry, no berry cobbler. And then we're gonna we need to base coat her little face. So we're going to take we could do warm beige. We could do sugared peach, and I think that's what this is right here. You can do this is natural buff, warm beige. So just a bit. So warm beige. Okay. I get a lot of questions about skin tones as well. Let me see, what color is this? This is baby blush. That's not the color I wanted. Okay. So there's another one, but I don't have it near me. Sugared peach is kind of a shade in between both of these. This right here is natural buff. This is my go-to Erica color. Okay. I'm super pale. This is what I use for like Santa Claus and so just when I want a nice pale skin tone. If I want something that's kind of an olivey tone or just got a little pink to their color, I would use warm beige. Okay. And then there are some other, I have a nice light mocha is a good color for a darker skin tone. And then there's some other ones that as we go darker and darker, I have some that I recommend. But my go-to for lighter skin tones is natural buff and warm beige and sugared peach. Those are my go-to. And hard part is that these don't have lines like yours. Oh, yours don't have the lines? I told my daughter I wasn't ordering anything till this stuff she bought already is done. So I'm not ordering nothing else. So you've done what we already have. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's like, because that pile can get real tall real quick. I have to see if she wants to get it out. Since Papa has passed, she hasn't decorated the Christmas for Christmas, and she's making us take her to Gatlinburg. Oh, that's sweet. I hope she gets to go. I hope she gets to go to Gatlinburg. She needs to get out of the house. I'm sure Christmas is hard. I know for me, Christmas is hard because as a kid, Christmas was like the go-to family get together. Like if you didn't make any other family get together, you made Christmas. You made sure to be home for Christmas. And my mom's side of the family, like for my dad's side of the family, it was the biggest family get together of the year. For my mom's side of the family, it was it was magic. And we didn't have a whole lot. It was just magic. My grandfather was, I'm telling you, the best Santa Claus you've ever met. Sweetest man. When he put on that suit, it didn't matter what your opinion was of him before the suit, but when the suit came on, jolliest man ever. He's my hero. Miss that man. But he played Santa. My grandmother was Mrs. Claus, and I swear I'm not exaggerating, and no lie, I legit thought I was a Christmas elf until I was probably about 11 years old. You couldn't tell me any different. You could not tell me any different, and I thought I was royalty. I was Santa's Christmas elf because and there was not a lie. Like there was no qualms about it. My grandfather was Santa Claus. I was royalty, okay? Like you couldn't tell me nothing. And since he's passed, Christmas is just really hard because I get to missing him a lot. So it is nice to be distracted. So I'm just giving her little faces, a coat or two. Let's go ahead and blow dry that because we do need a second coat. The cabin is booked. I know she's already got her bag. Oh, she's ready to go. We took her to Florida for Halloween, and she had us book it before we even went to Florida. Oh, good. I'm excited for her. Okay, so once we get this base coat of her face on, we're just gonna start seeing her come to life. Okay, she's looking pretty flat right now, but once we get her face on, things are going to start moving and shaking really quick. We're going to start adding her patterns. And then on top of the patterns, we're going to start adding her shade and her highlight. Things are going to start looking really cool really fast. So let's get this second coat. No matter what skin tone color you use, I always recommend 2 coats to make it look nice and creamy and not streaky. There's something about a skin tone. You could use this color for something else, for flowers, for the base coat or something else, no big deal. But when you use it for a skin tone, it just needs to look flawless, like the best makeup application you've ever put on. We have a baby boy. He was born today. What is today? The 8th, December 8th. Well, dang, he's a couple days after my baby. Hayden's birthday was on the 5th. He's in good company. I'm excited. How is she doing? Is she doing okay? I'm assuming she's doing okay because you're watching a live. If not, we would probably not be watching a live. But how is she? How's Mama doing? 8 pounds, 10 ounces, oh, he did yield full, but he's full. He's all filled out already. What day? Today is your grandson's birthday? Cindy, which one? The 5th or today? After all good. Who's not up? Who's not up? It is 2:30 in the afternoon. Oh, wait, until they get up. They're probably asleep. Okay, I was going to say, you better go wake Mr. Paul up and tell him it's 2:30 in the afternoon. He needs to wake up. But you mean mama and baby. You mean mama and baby. Well, tell her I said congratulations. Little boys are the best. Little boys are the absolute best. Okay, so we have 2 angels base coated, okay? We're going to add a stencil to the dress part, the center section. We're going to add some stripes here. You can freehand them. You can use a stencil. You can use tape. I don't care what you use, whatever you're most comfortable with. And then we're going to add little polka dots right there. I don't think I have tiny enough polka dots. And I definitely don't have polka dots right here right now. So we'll probably, I don't want to hand paint those. Y'all know me and polka dots. Me and polka dots don't get along. But I do have a teeny tiny little angle brush. Let me see what I can do. I'm going to go straight petal pink. Because remember, we added a dark color to this. I kind of just want, I want things. Hold on. I know what I want. Y'all give me 2 seconds. Let me go grab my pouncers. Okay, got my pouncers. I packed them up for a girls' paint day and never unpacked it. And I told myself, oh, you can so freehand that. I don't want to. I knew myself. I should have not trusted myself to freehand that. Okay, so I've got these from Walmart. This is a multi-pack from Walmart. I normally get my pouncers from what is that store called? Dollar Tree. They're the best price for 3 sizes of a pouncer. But there are times where I will get the Walmart ones because they come with a teeny tiny little one. All right, so I'm going straight petal pink. Okay, straight petal pink. I am going to use, I normally have Post-it notes, but I don't. So I'm going to get my painter's tape. You can use either one. Raylan has been playing with my painter's tape, so I had to move it out of her sight. It had to be out of sight, out of mind. Okay. So whenever you don't want to get your paint on something that you've already painted, use painter's tape or a Post-it note or something, or even a sheet of paper. If you can be careful enough, you don't even really need something with adhesive. You just need to have a steady hand. Okay. So there we go. And I'm not even applying this tape down. I'm just kind of using it as a guide, just as a barrier. Okay. So there's our first set of polka dots. Okay, again, petal pink. I'm just dipping it in the petal pink, but I'm also dabbing off the majority of it. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I was concentrating. Now, I'm going to want to let that completely dry before I move on to our next step. So I'm going to move it out of the way. Let's do this again. Back of your bush for dots. Back of my brush. Yes, I could have used the back of my, but I kind of wanted like nice solid dots. Yes, I did think about doing that, but I was like, I want to use my pouncers. I haven't used my pouncers in a while. I really needed to have a reason to bring the pouncers back to my paint table, aka my kitchen counter or my kitchen table. And I'm just kind of, if you notice, there's not really a rhyme or reason. I'm just going here, 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 here. I'm just in a zigzag. I'm just going to give the little peekaboo of one down here. Okay. Let's do the same thing over here. Just a little peekaboo of one right there. Nice little partial one right there. Okay. There we go. There's our polka dots. Now she's all polka dotted up. We can put this in the water. We're completely done with it. Let's see. Today. Okay. So you share, your grandbaby shares the same birthday as Miss Brenda's newest grandbaby, because this is grandbaby number 2 for her. My sweet baby Elijah is her first grandbaby. Oh, yes, please message me a picture. Oh my God, I can't wait to see him. I wonder if he looks like Elijah. I really do. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Let me see it. Let me see it. Let me see it. Let's see. Use the back of your pouch. Yes, I could use. Okay, so yes, that is a good tip. If you want a even smaller, say you want an even smaller polka dot. Okay, so that's the size that I used here, and that's the size that is right there. If you want an even smaller one, look at the back of your pouncers. The back of your pouncers, although they're not spongy, they will still give you a polka dot, okay? So you can use the back of your pouncer to get a polka dot that's even smaller. Just make sure you do the same little trick that you do over here with the actual spongy part of it. Make sure you pounce off a little bit of it because it can get goopy. Hey, oh, Miss Pam, you stop that. Being all extra sweet. Ugh, you can't help it. You can't help it. Hey, Miss Carol. I seen an angel done in pastel in the hobo section. Whoa, 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 hold on. Boho. I think you mean boho, Wanella. In the hobo section. That made me giggle. I loved it. I'm gonna remember that forever. Forever. All right, we're gonna blow dry these because to move on to the next step, we need to make sure we don't smudge any of our dots. So let's go ahead and blow dry that. Okay. So I bought a new stencil today. It's a mandala, or is that how you say it? A mandala. Let me see what it says on the back. It doesn't say, but it's the Show Off brand that I like. It's the Show Off brand, and I think that even though we're not going to use this entire design, I think like positioning this on top of her little dress is going to be super, super, super pretty. All right, so let's go ahead and pull our stencil out. This is the Show Off brand from Hobby Lobby. And unfortunately, it was not on sale today, but they're not Show Off. Like, let's look at it. It's $3.49 for a stencil that's not very expensive. but they do put them on sale all the time. So keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to position, I'm going to take the center of this and I'm going to position it to where it's, oh, I like this little lotus up here, but I think I'm going to do it this way right here. Maybe I should put it at the top. Okay. I'm just going to position that maybe in the middle. Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? All right. So I've got my sponge pouncer right here, right? And my children have walked off with all of my scissors. I do have one right there. They've all had projects where they just demanded, Mama, can I use your scissors? Of course. Well, they never bring them back. So I probably have to go search their bedrooms for them. Okay. Let's do again straight from the bottle, petal pink. Remember, we don't have to guess at shading colors or anything. We don't have to overguess any of that because we did straight from the bottle, petal pink as our base color. So with the polka dots, we can lighten them up. We don't have to lighten them up because we darkened it for the base coat for the polka dots, right? This background color is petal pink darkened. So petal pink on top of it is going to be a suitable color. This right here is petal pink lightened. So petal pink on top of it, again, suitable color for our polka dots and for our stencil. Nothing's going to clash. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to fussy paint this on. Let's do a little peekaboo and make sure. I think I am going to darken it just a wee bit. I think that's a lot. Yeah, that's a good contrast. All I want is a decent contrast, but I don't want to have to guess at it. So even though I felt like it didn't contrast enough with straight from the bottle, all I had to do was dip my pouncer in the berry cobbler just to make it just a tinge darker. I don't have to overguess anything because I'm using the same colors over and over again to make different shades. And I love that process because that means I don't have to have a million bottles of paint, even though I do. Let's just be real. We all do. I don't have to have a million bottles of paint to make things look good. All right, y'all ready? You ready for the big reveal? Ba-bam! Look at that. Look how pretty she looks. Okay. We're going to put her off to the side. First things first. Again, baby wipes have been taken away. I swear. I don't want to blame her for everything, but she does. I promise you they're in her little play kitchen. That's okay. You know what we can do? We can take clean water. I always have a little basin of clean water off to the side, a paintbrush, and I can just scrub. And that should take that little light layer of stenciling off. Yep, see? There we go. Now it's gone. I had just a little bit of stenciling that went up into her little arm section. So I cleaned that off with clean water. So there we go. Look at her dress. We're still not done. We need to put some stripes up here. All right. Now we're just going to rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Not literally, because we're not going to put our little pouncer, little makeup sponge in the water, because that would ruin our makeup sponge and we wouldn't be able to use it. Okay. This is good. All I'm doing is I'm just stenciling all the way up to the transition line between two different colors. Because I don't want to get this into my dark pink, okay? I don't want to get that into that dark pink. I just want it to stencil on that center section. I don't want that to stencil into the center section. I mean, I do want it to only stencil in the center section. Okay, put that off to the side. Whoa, look at her. She looks beautiful. All right, again, little bit of stenciling done outside the line. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wet brush, clean water, extra clean water, and just kind of scrub at it. Okay, just kind of scrub at it a little bit. Probably would not work if it was completely dry, but I caught it in time to be able to just erase it like an eraser. Okay, so now let's do our stripes. We're done with this. Okay, let's move this off to the side. Let's see, at the top. Ta-da! Mandela's. Is that effect that makes people question reality? Yeah. Wait. Mandala. Wait. Remind me. Well, hold on. I'm gonna have to go back and read the comments again. Hey, Miss Erica, I miss seeing you in painting. I had to give up painting, but I am still crafting. I do start. Oh, Cherish! I cannot. I have been seeing some of your posts. You don't say that you gave up painting, girl. You didn't give up painting. You can't walk away from painting. You've just set it on the back burner for a while. I don't accept the fact that you gave up painting. You just don't have time for it right now. You don't have time for it. You're too good at it to just walk away from it. No, ma'am. I won't allow it. Won't allow it. Okay, so we have now. We can either leave this plain, or we can do some stripes. I think it's too. We can do some stripes. The more I look at it, we're going to add some shading to it. I say let's not do stripes. Let's leave it alone. Let's leave her little top as a solid top, okay? We've got so much zhuzhing up going down here that I think this is perfect. So let's go ahead and let's switch gears, okay? We have completely base coated and zhuzhed up as much as we can without being overly distracting. Let's go ahead and start adding some shading, okay? So I've got, let's see. Let me move this off to the side. I'm going to grab wax paper this time, okay? Let me get the box of it. I'm going to grab wax paper. Normally, you would see me using my little paint trays, right? My white paint trays. I'm going to show you wax paper. Okay? Wax paper does the same thing as the paint tray. And it's cheaper because you get a lot more of it. I'm not going to say it's my preferred method, but it works. So let's use it. So this much wax paper will get the job done for me. You want the shiny side up, okay? Shiny side up. Wax paper has a non-sticky matte side, and then it has a kind of a, you can feel it, kind of a grabby shiny side. We want the shiny side up. And I'm going to move this over here. So you can see my wax paper too. Okay. So let's grab an angle brush. You know me, I love to do all of my shading with angle brushes. And I have a couple different sizes. Let's see. I've got my 1/2 inch, my 1/4 inch. I have a 1/4. That's 1/4 inch. I have my 3/8 and 3/4 and a half. So that's 2 halves. Let's see what else I've got. Oh, here it is. I knew I had a 3/4 or a 3/8. The 3/8 is probably my favorite. I will bump down to a 1/4 in really tight, like right here, it's really tight, but I love a 3/8. 3/8 is probably my favorite size for an ornament size. Okay, so let's go. Let's do Fairy Cobbler. We're going to work our way out, in. That dot right there, we will probably not even use half of it. Now, this is where the clean water comes in. I always keep a basin or a cup of clean water off to the side, and I dip my bristles in it, and I try to get as much paint off of the metal part of my brush. And then I just dip the very toe of my brush into the paint. Okay, and I just start working it into my brush. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to flip this over because I have wet paint down here in the corner. I don't want to dip my hand in that wet paint. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start working that berry cobbler, kind of outlining the outside of her dress. All this is doing is laying down a nice light layer of paint. I do want to go up underneath her arm, so I want you to see that. Do you see how it just kind of laid a light layer of darker paint? Okay. We're gonna let that dry, and we're gonna come back underneath this this rim of her top layer. But let's go ahead and do the outsides first. So we want to get up underneath her arm. Get up underneath her arm. And if you don't want to get too crazy with it, don't lay it on thick. You could always add more. It's harder to take it away. But with this technique, it's not as hard to take away as actual base coating. So see how it just gives you a nice little haze? And all that's going to do is give it some depth. All we're doing is giving it a little depth, okay? So all I'm doing is now this should be pretty dry to where I can go around on the outside of this light pink layer. So I'm just laying a really light layer on the outside of this light pink layer. And if it's not dark enough or if it's not wide enough, let it dry and add a second layer. It's so easy to add more than try to do more in layers with this technique than it is to try to add it all in one clean swoop. It just becomes a hot mess when you try to do that. So I would much rather you do a couple of layers. It doesn't take long to add this stuff. So just be patient, add a couple of layers until you get it to your liking. All this does is add dimension. This is separate. What we're doing now is we're separating the sections. It's going to make her dress look like it's kind of waving and folding. How many people hand paint their ornaments, or at least hand paint a couple each year? I know some people that do it as a pastime, and that they add a hand painted ornament to their collection each year. I know some people that hand paint ornaments as gifts, and they work all year long at it. I am one that works all year long at it. Every ornament that's on this tree right here behind me, I made multiples just like I'm making today, and had intended on giving those out as presents this year so that I didn't have to do it all at once. Because there's a lot of people that will start at about October. They'll start at October and start their ornament season. And I'm like, whoa, I couldn't do that. I'd be burnt out. If I did it all in one sitting like that, I would be so burnt out. So I do it throughout the year. All right, so I'm just softening this up. I added a little bit of water. My brush was drying out, so I added a little bit of water to my brush to kind of soften that line out. It was going on a little thicker than all the others, and that's just because there was more paint on my brush than water. The biggest key to this technique is getting your water to paint ratio on your brush just right. Okay, we're going to go on the bottom. I'm going to go on the bottom here in just a second. We just want to make sure those vertical lines were dry before we did a horizontal one. There we go. And see how it just, okay, so let's do a comparison. This is what I like to do too, so we can compare them side by side. Aren't they beautiful? So we're just going to be shading this one because I want to be able to bring this one back and show you the difference between base coated and shaded. Okay. So now that we've got this was the berry cobbler that we used to shade. Now remember, we married, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Petal Pink and berry cobbler to get that base coat color. So naturally, that being the darker of the two becomes our shade color. Okay. So for this color here, what we're going to do, I'm still going to add a little bit of berry cobbler to it, but pretty much petal pink is going to be our base color or our shade color for that center section. All right, so let me clean my brush. So I'm going to clean it in my dirty water. Brenda says I have painted about 60 ornaments this fall. See, I couldn't. That would have driven me crazy, Brenda. That would have driven me absolutely crazy, because I would have felt the pressure. I would have felt the rush, and it would have driven me absolutely crazy. So if I don't do it a little bit throughout the year, I will probably stop at about 10. And now I think I have about 50, just kind of sitting off to the side that were just extras. They were just extras. So, okay. So I'm dipping my brush in the clean water, kind of just raking it on the edge. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to dry the metal part of my brush. Still have water in the tip of my brush. I'm going to dip the tip of my brush in the Petal Pink. I am going to add just a little bit of that berry cobbler. We don't want it to be super, super dark. We just want it to contrast a little bit. And we're just going to lightly brush this on. Okay. We don't want berry cobbler to be the shade on this because this is so light. Okay. Berry cobbler would be too much. So we're mixing the two together until we get a happy medium between the two. And this one is not going to be as noticeable as that darker color. All we're doing is we're adding a shadow to the very edge of this section. We don't want to distract from this shadow line that the dress creates. We just want to add a finishing touch to the edge of this section. So if you notice, I'm going between the two. I'm kind of making a middle tone between the two. Okay. And now I'm just going to go right underneath her hands, where her hands, there's no actual hands in this design, but the little swirls I had decided were just kind of what I would consider where her hands would be, because she's whimsical. Okay. So there we go. See how I want to do a little bit more on the bottom here. I just want to deepen it up just so it kind of caps it off, especially with it being the bottom. And this is just where you kind of let your preference kind of take over. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. If you like it to be a little softer transition. So here we have our original, just comparing the skirts itself. We have our original and we have our, what I call dimension. We have, I keep hitting my camera. We have our colors just kind of softened. All I have is water. I'm just kind of softening up my colors a little bit. And I'm making sure the toe of my brush stays where that color that I laid down is. I'm just softening it. Okay, there we go. So there's the difference between no dimension and shading. My mom needed 30, daughter-in-law needed 21, and I sold a few yesterday. Well, I'm glad they're enjoying them. Okay, so we've got her skirt completely done. We're done with her skirt. Other than a few highlights at the very end, her skirt is done. Let's go ahead and bump down and brush sides. I'm going to probably use a 4th. If I can get my hands on it. Yeah. I'm going to use a 4th. Okay. Clean it really good. Like, this still has the tag on it. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. Okay, so I dipped it in the clean water. I'm just getting rid of that excess water from the metal part of my brush. Okay, so for the same situation up here, I'm going to do what I did for the center section. Remember, we did some berry cobbler and the petal pink mixed together as a shade, right? I'll make a whole new swatch because I don't want my brush to get contaminated on the back end. Okay, there we go. I'm going to turn her around because we're going to be turning her a good bit because I don't want to. All we're doing is we're just shading in her little swirls. And then we're going to, and I'm just going to have to be strategic about this. I have to be very, very strategic about it. I don't quite know how to explain what I'm doing here other than I'm just kind of outlining with the toe of my brush and then coming to a chisel at the very top. So if you notice, it's a lot wider down here, and then I kind of bring my brush up. I've released the pressure and come up to a chisel. So my brush is pretty much north and south like this by the time I get to her neck. So I'm laying flat on my side here. And then as I get closer to her neck, I'm coming up north and south. All right, so let's do it again over here. Let's see if I can do that again. I need more water on my brush. Dip it in the water. Squeegee it off of the metal part. Okay, and then we're gonna come over to our swatch. Okay, I'm on the side. I'm coming up to the chisel. Okay. Here we go. Okay. And for the swirls, you're going to have to do them in sections because you don't want to cross-contaminate the back of your brush with the toe of your brush. And you don't want this to look messy. So all I'm doing is I'm doing the bottom half of my swirl. I'm going to let that dry. And then I will come back in. Once it's dry, it doesn't take but a second to dry because remember, it's just water. Once it's dry, I'll come back in and do. Thought that was Little Miss Raylan. It's not. We're almost done though. Let's see. We'll come back in and just kind of finish out her swirls. Okay. And you can definitely do that with a writer bottle. You can do that with a paint pen if you want to. If you feel intimidated by this technique on this such a small little section, especially one with all these curves in it. But all you got to do is make sure you have the right size brush. You don't want it too big of a brush. You want the right brush for the right job. So there we go. Now we've got her hands put in. Let's work on her wings. Let's see what we've got going on. I think her wings are just plain. Yes, they're just plain. So all we're going to do is we've got oyster beige. Let's add Let's add a little bit of oyster beige. And what color do we want to add to that? What colors do I have over there? What color are you? Oh, you would have been perfect. Wish I would have thought about you. Okay. What color are you? Nope, that's gray. You really need like a khaki color. Burlap. We'll use burlap. All right, oyster beige. Will burlap be enough? I don't think so. In the bottle, it looked a lot darker. Let's go with khaki tan. This one is darker. I know that. All right, let's go with khaki tan. Yeah, that's a good bit darker. Okay. All right, so let's get our brush nice and damp. I almost dipped that in my coffee. All right, squeegee it off the metal part of our brush. Again, we're just going to stick with the 1/4 inch brush. We don't want our brush sopping wet. We don't want it so dry that it's not going to carry our paint. Let's see if this color contrasts enough. Oh yeah, this is going to do just fine, especially when we go to add our highlights. All right, I think I am going to bump up in brush size. I think I'm going to use my, what was it? My 1/4 inch. That was my 1/4 inch. Was I using, my 3/8 inch. Just dampen it. Wash off the excess. Grab some paint on the toe. We don't want it to be oversaturated with paint or water. Start in the very corner and just sweep it. Oh yeah, that's much better. It's giving us a softer look. Remember, if it's not as dark as you'd like it to be, which this shouldn't be, this should be nice and soft. This should be just a slight transition. This is a soft design. We don't want it to be overpowering. But if it's not dark enough, then you can either add a color to it to give it just that little bit of oomph, or you can do a second layer. But I would not completely switch colors. I would just add. Okay. We're not going to go in the swirl or anything like that. We're just adding just a little bit of almost like a dinginess. I don't want to say dinginess. It kind of reminds me of like a tea stained piece of paper or cloth. Have you ever tea or coffee stained something? This reminds me of the edges of like something that's tea stained. Now, we're not done with that. We're just going to let all those lines dry. So remember, we don't want to intersect anything that has wet lines. So while those are drying, we can come over here and do the same thing. Just sweep our color. Okay. Start in the crook of her neck. Just kind of sweep it over. We're just adding dimension. All we're doing is just adding that little bit of transition between the edge of something and the center of it. Okay. And you don't have to completely outline everything. You just want to add where it would benefit your eyes most, where it would give your eyes something to say, oh, that should create a shadow there. That's round. So let me add a little bit of dark on the bottom of it to simulate, oh, that's round. Round surfaces need to have a little bit of shadow to them so that your eyes actually see the roundness of it. Just because it's a circle doesn't mean that your brain computes that's a ball or that's a sphere. It just says, oh, it's circle. Okay. So we need to go underneath her arm, because her arm and her dress are sitting on top of her wings. So let's add a little bit of shadow to lift her up from her wings. Just creates a little bit of separation. We're going to do it all the way along the line. Anything that's pink, we're going to kind of give a little shadow. Okay, so there we go. See the difference between this side and that side? It's really hard because it's still wet. But see how it just kind of creates that shadow behind her? Now let's do the other side. Remember, make sure you get all the way in that little crook of her neck. Otherwise, it's not going to look complete. Anywhere there's pink, we want to outline it. Okay. So let's do a comparison. This one's shaded. This one's not. Do you see? It doesn't add a lot of color. It just makes your eyes really zone in on, oh, her dress curves back and it curves back. And this is sitting a little closer to my face than these two. And this, this just gives you more shape to it without it being a harsh shape. And then here, see how it just kind of gives it a little bit more shape, a little bit more fullness. There is a tutorial for the Santa behind me. I painted that as a guest painter over on the Profitable Sign Maker. That is one of my good friends, Ashley Rates. That's her page, and I guest painted him on her page one night. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't paint at night, and I did that at night. I don't paint at night, and that was I'm not going to say that I struggled through the painting. I did not struggle through the painting. I mentally struggled, and you can tell I mentally struggled to hold conversation because I'm not a night person. Anybody who knows me knows I am not a night owl. So, like the whole time, I can't find my words. It's actually kind of comical. It's a must watch. I'm not gonna add it to your TBR. Make sure if you're bored and you want to get a good giggle out of Erica not being able to communicate with actual human beings, it's a good one to watch. Just getting here. Is the center of the skirt done with a stencil or a girl? Pam, I did not freehand that. No, ma'am. You know me. I'm not going to work harder than I have to. That's a stencil. That is this stencil. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It's that show off brand that I like. It was about $3. I like it. Okay, so now let's shade her face. We're going to take the burlap, which was this middle color right here. You can use burlap. You can use warm beige. Actually, warm beige would probably be better, but since I already have burlap poured, we're just going to put burlap underneath her. We're just going underneath her chin. I kind of like that better. It makes her look wooden. Here we go. Let's do a little bit more. Soften that up just a little bit and then walk it out. Walk it in here. When you have something that's curved, you want to make sure that you really get a good gradual fade to it. Even if it goes to half of the shape, you want to make sure you get a good gradual shade to it. It's not a huge transition, but if you look right there, it's a little bit of just depth. Okay, so now we need a metallic, and I do have a couple of go-to golds that I do like to use. I really want to use this one. This is Antique Bronze. No. Which one do I want to use? That's 24 karat. I don't want it to be a bright, bright gold. We could do a rose gold. We could do a bronzy gold. I just don't want to do that bright of a gold. I feel like that's a little distracting, but also I feel like bronzy golds are kind of distracting too. But it has to be a gold. Aha, found it. Champagne gold. Champagne gold. It's going to be gold, but soft enough to, so that's, see that kind of sheen? And it's in the Dazzling Metallics, which is my favorite. I like the Extreme Sheen, and I like the Dazzling Metallics. Extreme Sheen being probably my all-time favorite. Oh, that was not mixed up well enough. Metallic separates so easy. All right. So for this, much better. Probably could have shaken it up just even more. I'm going to use, what is this? What size is this? A 1. This is a 1. I'm just using a liner brush. This is such a teeny tiny little section. Now the Dazzling Metallics is a thick paint, so get a feel for it. Probably should have started with, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. All I'm doing is fussy painting this on here. Now mine is laser cut, so do not feel like you've got to hand cut that little halo part out. If you are cutting by hand, I'm gonna tell you right now, Erica Wallace right here would not have taken the time to cut that out. Not even gonna lie. Not gonna lie about that. I wouldn't have. There are many designs that if there's a fussy little section that I'm like, oh, that probably would look really good cut out. Sure hope someone else does it so I can see, because I'm not doing it. I'm funny about that. I was like, oh no, I just want to paint. I just want to paint. I don't want to spend all my time cutting all these little intricate pieces. Although there are times where I'll break out my scroll saw and knock something like that out. But that right there is such a dainty little piece. I would have left that right there. Look at that. It's just the hint of a metallic. It's not catching it on camera, but it is. I'm going to let that dry, and we're going to do a second coat of it. It's just glitzy enough, and it's not still in the show. Okay, there we go. Second coat. Second, first, same as the first, a little bit louder, a little bit worse. Anybody else sing that at camp? That gets stuck in my head all the time. All right, there we go. There's our halo. Not overly distracting, just a soft gold, champagne gold color. And there's our ornament. Isn't she just precious? Let's blow dry her completely and get a hanger on her. Because little Miss Raylan will be getting here in just a few minutes. In fact, give me just 1 second. Let me get something organized real quick. Okay, so we're going to move this off to the side. We're done with this, okay? See all the paint that we wasted? When you're shading, it's so hard to get the teeniest, tiniest little drop that you end up wasting it. Okay, so let's move that off to the side. Let's blow dry this completely. Just give it one good measure. I did charge my drill the other day. So remember the last time that we used the drill? It died on us, and we really had to pray really hard to make sure to see if it was actually gonna to make that last hole that we needed. You need a name to name that angel bracelet. Oh, she does need a cute little angel named after her, doesn't she? I wish I wouldn't have thrown that away because I kind of want to touch up her arms before we seal her. Where's my berry cobbler? Gosh, I just love this color. I don't get to use it too often because it's such a, I mean, it's such a good color to use with all pinks. Just all pinks. Okay, I just want to add like just a little bit more right there just to clean it up. Her hands were looking, they weren't looking even. So we're just going to add just a little bit there. Get a little bit more. Once things are completely dry and you think you're finished, your eyes just kind of zone in on one thing and you're like, nope, let me touch that up. And be careful because you can touch it one too many times. You can touch it one too many times and then you're mad at yourself because you're like, why didn't I just leave it alone? Okay, there we go. Now I'm happy with it. Now we can blow dry it. I just felt like one side was shaded darker than the other side. I had to even it out. I like 24 karat gold too. I just felt like for this one, it was too bright. It has its place. And I feel like, especially for Christmas ornaments, red and green all day long, use that 24 karat gold, right? Grinchy colors, 24 karat gold. But this one really called for a soft metallic shade. All right, so let's pick our high gloss because you know me, it's going on a Christmas tree, so we got to have our high gloss. I'm going to just pour it in the top. Okay, I'm just gonna pour it in the top. I'm just gonna pick a brush. And I'm just gonna give a quick little swipe. There's no paint pen used on here, so I'm not really worried about smudging anything. I just want to make sure I give a good coverage on all of this. Ah, sorry, I keep hitting you. Okay. And I do have a little puppy hair right here. When you're using a brush on sealer, do not try to get those out while it's wet. Just before you go for your second coat, take your finger and just rub your finger on top of wherever. I get aroma hair in every single thing I do. But when I use a brush on sealer, my trick is let it completely dry and then take my finger and rub on top of that puppy fur, and it will just lift right off. But if you go and tinker with it with your hand, with your nail, you're gonna scrape up paint. You're gonna smudge a fingerprint in there. Just be patient, let it dry, and before you go to add that second coat on there, just kind of give it a light little rub, and it should pop right off. Because we're putting such a light layer of this sealer on that it shouldn't get stuck permanently. See, watch. Up, see, and then it's gone. It's gone. Okay, second layer. There's something about my brushes. They attract little random light puppy furs in the bristles because I store them up like this. Once they're dry, I store them up like this, and then it's just something about it floating around in the air. Okay. The reason I put it in the cap is because I can put it back in the container once I'm done. I used to put it on a tray, and a couple weeks ago, I was like, why do I do that? Especially for ornaments. It's like, why am I wasting all this sealer when I can just take the cap, dip it back like that? Now, be aware, it does make your cap stick. That's okay. All right, so there's our sealed painted lady. Look how cute she looks. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add a hanger to her, okay? There's all different ways you can add hangers to an ornament. You can add twine, you can add ribbon, you can add, what is the word that I'm searching for? What do I normally add? And the word is escaping me. What is that thing called? Wire. I like to add wire. So let me just open up my wire bucket. I am going to use my gold, which is kind of a rosy gold color, but not quite. It's kind of in between a champagne gold and a rose gold. I'm going to grab about 8 to 10 inches. Okay, I'm going to use some wire cutters or needle nose pliers. Most needle nose pliers have little wire cutters attached to them. Okay, so I'm going to take about 8 to 10 inches of wire. Okay, I get that from Hobby Lobby. It's nothing fancy. It's just bead landing. I love her so much. I do too. I just love her. I could not wait to paint her. I'm telling y'all, when y'all started putting that gingerbread house up, I was like, you know what? I would love to paint my gingerbread house. But I'll tell you right now, I've been dying to paint this come on. Paint this angel. Fully charged. Told you. Okay, so I get this from Harbor Freight. It is the Chicago Electric Power Tools. It was like $10, I think. Maybe 20, okay? It was like 10, 20 bucks. So I'm going to bump this back just a little bit. Bump this back just a teensy bit. So that I can make room for it, okay? I have a wooden block that I use. It's just a scrap 2x4, okay? All I'm going to do is turn this on. Okay, I'm just going to eyeball it. I don't get super precise with my holes. Ah, that was warm. It kind of got me right there. It was warm. The needle of it was warm. The drill, the bit. All right, so we're done with this. Let's put all this up. I like to clean up as I go. Especially with the sawdust, I like to get that out of the way, and I'll clean that up in a little bit. Usually get the vacuum out, and I do get the hose, and especially when I do it inside. Now, before I go to add my wire, you can take a furniture pin. I like to use the black ones, or you can take a Posca pin, the really bold ones, really blunt tip ones. Give me just a second. Apparently my husband is home. He's not supposed to be home right now. I wonder what's going on with that. But I will figure that out when we're done painting. He's not normally home this early in the day. Let's see. Totally threw me off. Y'all know me. Like, I am not normally that scatterbrained. But he just like walked through the door and stared at me. And then Raylene got off the bus as soon as he walked through the door. So okay, where was I? So I like to use furniture pins. These are from the Dollar Tree. This is the black. It comes in a 3-pack. You can also use a Posca pin or a blunt tip paint pen. All this does is clean up the edges, okay? There's nothing fancy about this. All I'm doing is erasing or painting over all those paint smears on the edge of our ornament. It's just giving it a nice, clean look. And it takes it to another level without having to do any extra major work. Okay, so I do that, and I do that on pretty much every piece that I do. Hey, my baby girl. I finished level 2 and now I'm on level 3. You're on level 3. I'm excited for you. Oh, I'm so excited for you to be on level 3. Okay, so I just bought a box of beads. This is from Hobby Lobby. You get to paint your angel when I'm done. Okay, I'm almost done. I am putting the hanger on it now. I'm going to use. I need scissors. There's tape all the way around the threads of this, so we're just going to cut the tape on that. You say hi.
Hi.
Tell them what you did today.
I was on my computer, and I'm on level 3.
Now you're on level 3.
Yep. Mommy, why do both of them?
Because I always do more than one. Okay, so I'm going to use, there's all these little almost pastel metallics in here. I'm going to kind of mix and match them. There's some kind of rosy pink ones. There's some creamy pearly ones. And there's all different sizes. I think I want
all of them.
Yes, I think I want all of them. Just like that. Ooh, I think I want this. Hold on. There's teeny tiny little one. I sure hope my wire fits through that one. I sure hope it does, because I think this would be a nice contrast. So there we go. So what I have, so this is it was only $8 for this huge thing of multiple pieces. I told you you can paint when I'm done. Please stop. Go help Daddy. Go help Daddy, and you can paint when I'm done. So I've got this thing right here. It's just multicolored. There's blue, light blue, green, gold, creamy colors, kind of a champagne color. I've picked, these are the colors I picked and the sizes that I picked. Okay, so the ones that are questionable are these little ones. The smaller bead, the smaller the hole. So we have to be very careful about our expectations. And I don't know, it might fit these, but what my plan is I might do these little ones, and then I think like that, and then I think like that, and I think like that. I think that's how I'm going to have them. They're all different sizes, all different colors. So those are kind of the burgundy looking ones. Those are kind of a creamy white. Those are the pink, white. So it's kind of mirroring on each side. So let's go ahead and put our wire. Oh gosh, there we go. Okay, let's put our wire in on one side. Get the sawdust off of our piece. Put it in. I'm going to take my round needle nose pliers. They're completely round all the way around the needle nose. There's not a flat section on there. I'm just going to curl it up. Okay, and then I'm going to press it flat. Okay. And then I'm going to kind of curl my wire. Just kind of go ahead and form it out. And then I'm going to, please, let me pray, because these are so pretty. Yes, they fit. Okay. And then I said we were going to do the bigger white one. My beads are just rolling all over the place. So we're going to do the bigger white one, the rosy pink one, the smaller white one that's in my hand, and then that's the center. I created that as the center. So now I'm going to mirror this. So now we have the rosy pink one again, the bigger white one, and the kind of burgundy-ish brown one. It's such a pretty color. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's kind of burgundy color. But all these colors play well with the pinks and the creams that are in this. And then I'm going to just kind of eyeball how big of a hanger I want. I always like for my beads to be kind of off to the side. You can also kind of pinpoint them to be in the center. I always like mine to be off to the side. I just think it's nice and pretty. Or you can separate them out and put some on one side, some on the other. But I'm just funny about a catty corner situation. So I just kind of trimmed my wire up. I'm going to trim it up just a little bit more. This is where it kind of gets kind of funny. Then just like that, I did a curl just like it did on this side. And I'm going to flatten it to the wood. And that creates our hanger. The only other thing that you could do is add some ribbon, add some fabric. If you want to balance this out a little bit, say you don't like all the beads off to one side. Say you like it, but you're just like, it just doesn't look quite balanced. You can add a little ribbon bow over here on this side, and that would create a little bit of balance. See how, or you could add your ribbon bow right here to kind of tie in the beads into it. Or like I said, you could put your beads, some of your beads on one side, some of them on the other. Okay. And there we go. There's our little fabric, in quotation marks, our little fabric angel ornament. And she is going to go right here. Now, Marie Mosley, I see that you're still here. Let me show you this. Because I was so proud of myself because I did not have a tree topper. I even bought these at Target to make a tree topper for my little mini Wallace House tree. Okay. Do you see what's on the top of my tree? Do you see it? It's my when in doubt, ghosted out. Marie Mosley made me that a long time ago. And I was like, that's perfect. It's a perfect tree topper. I love it. So I haven't been live since I put my tree up. So I had to point that out to you since you were here. Look, if y'all are looking for these blanks, Home Creations is hanging out with us while we paint this. This is where you can get the blanks. I am painting a 5-inch ornament. You can get this in any size from 4 to 24. And yes, it will be in the comments and in the description of where you can get the template, the JPEG, or the wooden blank from Home Creations to paint along with me. If you had fun painting along with this, I would greatly appreciate for you to check out the Paint Studio. That's where I teach little lessons like this every month exclusively to them. And we go over a new paint technique every single month. It's always different. It's always so much fun. And we always add a little extra technique to our arsenal to take our painting skills to the next level. I can't wait till the next time to paint with you. Until then, I'll see you later. Bye.